G'day! Today we continue on with the string challenge. Hopefully we will get right to the border of Africa today. So first up, Bosnia is coming in. Sarajevo. Sarajevo. Sounds close. We'll sort of just split the connections here. We'll double time things on this one. Let's make sure these guys are all up to date. Yeah, that's what we wanted at. This guy up. Interesting suggestion that someone had that I did think was interesting was that they suggested that what you could do is that if the problem's gonna be that basically this flight is the longest flight in the game, then why not make this the only capital to capital connection in the game? You run those two together, and then you cause everyone else around it to sort of operate within it. Now, it doesn't actually work within the rules of my string challenge because there's no way to get from these three cities to these two cities without sort of cutting over the line. And one of the rules of my line is the line can't cross back across itself. That's as close as it gets, but it technically doesn't. Technically. But apart from that, it's not I didn't mind that as an idea, because what it would have meant is that you get rid of all your other sort of like capital city connections as well. And so it means that with those like extreme jets that you can see that Luxembourg and Brussels are sort of taking in, enjoying, all of those are going to go to that potentially worse line. Which I did not mind. One thing I do want to address though is that on this route, there are two planes on that one spot. See, we sell that one, the other one's still there. So we want to just break up that fifth plane a little bit more. I think it's just after this guy. That's once that guy turns, we go. So that divides them a little bit more, because you can see there's a few times where we've got like two planes flickering on each other because one's red, one's green. And that gives a bit more time to have this guy sort of, that there shouldn't be wasted trips as much. Alright, let's get rid of that route. We'll pop that guy in there. I can't imagine we're going to get too many cities in here. So our next one, be Italy. Now at the moment, we're ending up in Slovenia, so the idea is that we'll take cities sort of around this way, so we won't connect Rome just yet. We will just upgrade it, and we'll have a look to see how we're going. So this guy is struggling with planes heading this direction. Let's give him a 500-seater to just offset a little bit. Well, if they're going to be all the way up there, then they're probably going to just get put into these connections up here rather than anything Italian. And let's just do a quick little look around to see what cities are not happy. Starting off with Jacksonville. And that looks to be people heading north. So let's try and offset them with a 300-seater as well. There's two planes operating on that, two planes operating on that, so hopefully that does clean it up a little bit. Los Angeles is the heavy one there, which is this flight route there. That's a very short route though, so it does seem like if that's a problem, there's a lot of continually ricochets after that are then going to have issues. So you can see Scranton's now going to get nice and red. Again, that's heading north, so that's this guy. So let's give him a 300-seater. And I think we had another Italian city come in. Yeah, so let's these guys upgraded. You can see we're getting a nice sort of string of cities down Italy. What we're after. Houston, Mexico City. So I think that's everything heading north out of Vegas. That's actually the problem. So we'll give this short little route a little bit of help. Again, that's a small route, but it's within two routes that both have two planes on it. So understandable where it can sort of start to struggle. And we'll just up them both a little bit. London, Los Angeles, so that's all going to be on its northern route. So again, I do like the idea of adjusting these to just say 300 seats. Give them a 300 seat plane until it's proven that that's still an inefficient route. That looks south, so it looks like this route here is the... That's the problem. That's all heading north, so that'll be on this route. And I mean, it is a slightly longer route among just a lot of tiny little routes there. Sao Paulo, Los Angeles, Washington. Washington is surely in a different direction to Sao Paulo from here. We only have the one plane on that route. Yep. Alright, there we go. That's what we really want to see. Some cities running all the way down into the very end of Italy. So we do want to hop into Tunisia. Just sneak that one in there. We won't immediately move that into the same area. We'll just wait to see what else we get, if we get anything else in that sort of area. There's a lot of people heading to Manchester there. Forgotten to upgrade that guy. Just inefficient. Oh, there we go, that's why. When people who ask why I don't like that I could potentially just upgrade all the cities to their maximum amount, stuff like that actually makes it handy not to, that you can sometimes eyeball just cities that seem to be the problem. Alright, this guy looks like he's having issues heading north out of him, which is interesting because that's the shorter route. A really good location of the city there. Just one more in here, and we have our route. I suppose one more down here too would also help. It's a bit of a distance from these guys to these two. I mean, we could end up with something on these islands too. I don't know what the biggest city would be on either of them. Have a quick glance. Really looks like in the south. It's maybe down here. Cagliari? Is that how it's pronounced? Probably the biggest one that way. Okay position on that one, because it means we can sort of... Oh, the Olympics being held in Italy. Okay. A lot of disappointed fans, so I guess we just get them all connected. We'll come down to Rome, and then across the back of the boot, and then in. What's the distance? 530 to 609. I'll take the 609 because I would imagine that Tunisia's gonna have cities here. There we go. Cagliari. Nailed it. Now the problem here is if we get more cities north of that, because this guy's just in a great position to move into Tunisia. But if we have anyone north of that, there's no real way that he can fling around, and it would actually be that we'd possibly have to go in and then out, and then Palmero would go to Tunisia. Alright, now let's start these. It's a little bit of a step out of the way. So I guess what we'd have to do there is go... Let's have a look. So it's 500 to there, 700 to there. Now I've learnt my lesson. So... let's upgrade them all in Bolivia. I guess let's get rid of that route. Make lease in here. Alright, we'll shorten that route slightly at least. Never been to Italy. I might have said this in a previous video. You ever talk to Australians about Italians? Well, not about Italians, about Italy itself. One of the more major sore points that we still carry with us is losing in the 2004 World Cup to them in one of the, I think the first round of elimination, where they dived on a tackle and got a free kick that won them the game. We'll hold on to that grudge for a while, I'm sure. Or we already have. I do feel like there's a lot of room still left in Italy to get more cities, but if you look at France and Germany, it feels like it's a very similar spacing to what we've seen there. This guy here is getting quite red. Let's give him that second plane. It's sort of where we want to see this, another city. Cleveland comes up a lot. Have I not ever given them an extra plane? Maybe that's why they keep complaining about it. Maybe all of these guys are in a bit of a stress. These are the ones that I find really interesting, is when you've got a city that's that, like, it's just got 2 short routes on either side of it, and it's finding a weird little struggle. Looks like it's north. Yeah, northbound traffic that it's having problems with. So let's give it a 300-seater to try and help that out. Washington heading south or north? Yeah, south. Doing Lynchburg's. Actually, Lynchburg needs to go north, so hopefully this the increase in this impacts both directions there. Sounds like we've got a few extra Italian cities too since we last visited. Not really too much we're ever going to be able to do for you, Prince George. See, we must be like, I look forward to finishing this game and seeing what the amount of passengers delivered, because I feel like it's going to be ridiculous at this point. The fact that now we're at a stage where the 30% doesn't even matter anymore. No, we don't want to. What we want to do is reduce the amount of people on our line. Let's see if having reduced numbers of people coming allows us to stay afloat. So let's slow things down while we get this week of less travelers. Let's see if we can see if we can hold 30 seconds without it. I don't think we can. I think we've now reached beyond a point where this is manageable because it's too much. The middle is now such a large area. But we've got 5 minutes to give it a go. Some of these ones are actually, we're broken at the moment, aren't we? So let's save, load, come back in. That looks better. Alright, talk to me, Portland. Sao Paulo, Houston. So that's heading south. You can have a 300-seater. Prince George is stuff heading south. So let's give this guy 300-seater. Really going to be enough for him? I mean, he's not much better off either. And he's also the same direction, so let's give him that same 300-seater. This guy's got 3 planes on his line. They're all going different paces, speeds. So I can imagine that can be a frequent issue for a place like Prince George, if they're just going to all get dumped there at the same one point. Toronto, London, Brussels, Houston. So most of that is actually heading north. So let's give this guy a 300-seater as well. Let's make sure he's a little bit more prepared for what's going to come. He's got 2 planes on him. So we're probably going to have to end up putting 2 on that. But we'll wait to have it complain about it. Still heading south. I'm actually going to give this guy a second 300. And they're going to be offset. So These two guys will move around them, but those two 300s will sort of work at opposite ends. George is still the one who wants me to look at. Washington again as well. Yeah, let's make this guy 500 because that's all heading north. Let's give this guy 300. Let's try and like affect that once it actually does become a problem. These guys are in permanent problem mode though. Alright, that's it. Let's give them the two 500s. I mean, eventually this will shift the other way, but you can see that everyone waiting there at the moment. Almost everyone. Oh no, Pagoda's down south too. But all of that is south of this point, so it's got nothing to do with what's going on up here. It's all about moving that south. Birmingham, Houston, so that's all heading south. Somehow it's that line that's struggling in this one, not that one. Reading that right? I'll let that one go for now. Just hopefully the upgrade, it just needs a brief moment to think about what its problems are. Toronto, so this guy's heading north, which is this one, so let's give them a third plane and make him a 300-seater. Schenectady, Mexico City, Bogota, so that is going to be guys heading south. Since everyone else around here also has two planes on them, let's give him the two planes as well. Still Schenectady. Oh, we've changed over to Negras, and we are 17 seconds out of losing our advantage here. That's all people going to Los Angeles, so we want to go to the north side of that city. Rado. I've got a new guy down here. Well, hopefully this will make Rado slightly a little shorter trip. He doesn't struggle as much. Well, there's people heading to Mexico City. Oh no, that's the southern one. Alright, that's his long one. Oh, well, let's just invest in a 300-seater on that one. Los Angeles and Boston should be opposite directions on this thing. But everything else, I think, is mainly south. Which to him is the southern route. Birmingham, Dallas. So let's give him a tiny little helper. Rado. Toronto, Philly, which is all still that southern route here, so that's fine. We'll just see if he can improve on it. Let's go check out, see if we've got some more Italian cities. We have. Alright, well, we can now at least shorten that a little bit. Sort of. That's what we can do is go those two together, these two together. And just sort of hook back around. I think we're all pretty good from there. I think I caught everyone. Alright, let's bring Tunisia in. Capital city of Tunisia is Tunis. So does that mean that if you, like, so say for example, as an Australian, being from Australia, I'm Australian, but being from Melbourne, I'm also a Melburnian. You were Tunisia. If you're from Tunisia, you'd be a Tunisian. But if you're from Tunis, would that also mean that you were? Would that also be Tunisian? The same word? Let's have a look at where else our links are showing. So that looks like that's now heading the other way. It's amazing how many of these cities that I have to address in the US that are still 32,000 ones, 3,200 sorry ones. I think that was something that I'm addressing. It just must be that it's how many more cities there are that are just facing problems. Dylan is South America. Yep, cool. In fact, that was that South American city I was questioning the other day about. Is it actually as big as this game's giving it credit for? Mainly just that a lot of these cities are still at such a significant hit to the population of a city when both planes hit, if they hit at the ridge at the same time. Mexico City, Sao Paulo, so that's the southern route that's struggling. Like I said, the one thing I would love to have in this game would be a little series of like stats that you might be able to turn on and off depending on if you want them or not. And the one that I think would be really cool is just to see an overview of what city are the most amount of passengers currently attempting to get to. Like if it said like there are currently 50,000 people who are trying to get to Los Angeles, and like it wouldn't really change too much in this game of mine, but I think in a regular game of this, where you're actually sort of strategically building your routes and so on, you would go, oh, okay, so everyone's trying to get to Los Angeles, so I need to create some better routes on how to get there. It would be a really handy, neat one. For me, I just love statistics. I would just love to see where the majority of people are heading, and in this game, and I assume that Los Angeles is pretty top of the list. Sfax? Is that how we pronounce that one? Sfax. I'm actually getting a fair few Tunisian cities here. I guess unsurprisingly, they're all along the water. Again, another country that I don't know too much about. I would assume it was quite desert, but I'd imagine that it wouldn't be along the waterline. And it's very possible that it's not deserty, although I'm certain that well, I mean, firstly, the Sahara Desert's what here, so the evidence feels like it's there to suggest it could be very easily. Mexico City, Los Angeles. So that's south. Notice too, I actually don't think I'd noticed this till just then when I had a new that new city come up. I've no longer got the banner along the bottom that announces when a city's almost at capacity or at or is newly been created. I don't think anything's alerting me to a city being created anymore. Like, I've just got to go find it. Fresno, so I've just shifted San Jose's problems on one spot. Tampa, Boston, so I think that's all south. I assume Algeria is the next country I'm gonna want to take here. I won't take that today because it does because that's the direction I want to go. I want to swing around that way and end in Egypt. So I mean, it's gonna the question marks that's gonna create up here is gonna be where's where am I gonna get cities in Algeria and Liberia? Sorry, Liberia's not. That's Libya. Liberia's down here. There. Algeria and Libya. Actually, see that one I don't want to necessarily connect to here because it actually might be that I need to do this turn and then hit an Algerian city that's on the coast. My assumption. So let's just set it up like that's what we expect to happen. See now, Europe is looking very nice and green. The United States rather, is now the very center of the line, and see that there's a lot more yellow in there. But I mean, these guys are also not being leveled up as much. Oh no, they are. They're just struggling. London, a whole lot of people going to London. So that's this. It's that one. I mean, that was a single plane line between two planes, so hopefully the 300 seater sort of pushes it along a little bit more. Sao Paulo, Houston, so that's all stuff heading south. That's a very short line there, and this one also has 2 planes on it, so hopefully that's reached that point of where all that those problems hit, and we're clear. It's smooth sailing on the other side of Los Angeles. It's funny because Los Angeles possibly is one of the easiest like managed cities because so many people who are arriving there are actually heading there. So maybe it doesn't ever look bad because there's so many. I mean, there's a lot of people heading to London as well. So many of the people, which I'm not getting any examples of it at all at the moment, are heading to Los Angeles. So those 270 disappear off those planes as they reach that city. So it's actually just, it looks good because it's not actually having to have that many people sit in the airport. Huey. Guadalajara. So Guadalajara would be heading this way out. Let's give that guy. San Juan is looking pretty poor in the same respect. That's because these guys have got 2 supersonic jets on there. Sell that guy for now. We'll let just the 2 supersonic jets go crazy. Boston. So that's heading north. Again, those are very short routes. We'll just leave them the upgrade for now. See how he goes with that. Philadelphia, Manchester, Toronto, New York. So that's all the same direction. It's actually this side of this one. Give him the small plane. Alright, see how we're looking over here. Such an interesting variety of names of these Tunisian cities. Chinduba, Afsa, Zazas, Hiba, Sus. It's very, like, if you were just reading, if I was just reading these names and guessing what country they belong to, I think there's a, they don't sort of like keep a single pattern. Like, that looks French, that looks Indian, that looks Spanish. I mean, they're all Tunisian, but it's such an interesting sort of divide. There's other countries where they seem to have a bit more of a pattern to the way they look. Yeah. Anyway, that's my takeaway from landing in Tunisia here. So we've made a little bit more of movement here, knocking out 3 of them and breaking into Africa. So forward to now trying to swing through this continent. See what we find. Anyway, any questions or comments, feel free to chuck them below. But till next time, catch you later. See